Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is your co-host, as usual, TalkToMeshif.
And I'm Axion, and we're going to be catching a 1v1 on Blistering Sands with the illustrious TalkToMeshif at the red Protoss. And he's going to be playing Zanidor, the blue Terran. And yes, that first game, casting Meshif here, we're going to see how he does, see if we can give him some commentary, some advice, and why Protoss instead of Terran.
Like I said, I was originally a Protoss player back in Brood War. I played mostly Terran in our 2v2s only because in 2v2 you have to do, it's less build oriented and more fun, more mass units, and I have more fun with some of the units that you can make with Terran. I like siege tanks, I like Vikings, trying to get in some Raven play as well. So I thought I'd switch it up though in 1v1, play a little toss, see if I could try a standard build. You'll see that I fail quite horribly, but luckily I am able to do some good stuff in this game. So please feel free to point out in the comments or whatever. Let me know what you guys think I could have done better. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of things, and I'm sure we'll discuss a lot of them.
Yeah, and I see you throwing down the gateway at 11. That's a little bit early. I would have liked to see you use your chrono boost on probes 11 and 12 after that pylon got down, and then thrown down the gateway around 12, and the assimilator maybe around 13 or 14. But if we take a look at Terran players, just kind of playing normally. Depot, barracks, getting the front wall off there. That's always crucial. Although, with Blistering Sands, it actually looks like you snuck a probe back here behind these destructible rocks. Are we going to be seeing any trickery, or is this just purely to scout later in the game?
Well, it turns out I couldn't make up my mind what I was going to do with it. So I leave him there for now. I did see that he was going kind of a standard wall off at the front. It probably would have behooved me to use this probe to go in and scout in just another few minutes to see what build he's really settled on, but I do not do that, and I throw down my second gateway here at 16. So yeah, definitely a little bit too early on my gateway. I guess I was a little bit antsy. I think you and I had just played a few 2v2s. I wanted to play a 1v1, try to do some kind of 4-gate push, some kind of real legit build, and have a good game that we could cast that could highlight how good my skills are, but obviously that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, it looks like you've thrown down from the first gateway. I mean, you haven't produced anything from it yet. I would have liked to see, I mean, maybe one zealot, maybe, who knows, maybe you're saving some chrono boost for a stalker. But, it's usually nice to have a little bit of early D, although, I mean, normally you'd want to get the stalker out first against Terran in case of any Reaper harass, but since the Reaper nerf, I guess it's okay to wait a little bit. And I mean, what was your plan at this point? Here the first zealot is coming out. Were you going to do anything with the second gateway, or were you just kind of waiting to get warp gates, because you should be researching and chrono boosting at the moment?
Yeah, I do start warp gate just on cue, so I was on top of the ball there, and I believe I am going to be chrono boosting that at least some of the time. Yeah, I definitely had way too much energy here in my Nexus, so I should have been a little more wise with my use of those, and yeah, I should have, there we go. You do see the chrono boost going down on the Cybernetics core, and I did throw up a pylon here. We just saw it get taken out, but I did throw up a pylon behind this curtain. I should have known that was going to get taken out. It was definitely too late, because the rest of my warp gate technology was going to be late, and it supply boxed me for a little bit, which is kind of a mistake. But I do put a pylon down here, and I think this is really a really smart thing that I did do right behind the curtain there of those trees or plants, whatever you call them. So I can still warp in units here. Hopefully break down these backdoor rocks and head into his base from there, as well as resupply my army if I do build up a ground army from my base and move out across the map.
Yeah, it looks like we're seeing 4 barracks right now from Zanidor, your Terran opponent. Purely Marines at the moment, and I'll be interested to see when he's going to throw down that second gas, because he has an abundance of minerals right now. 475, 500. While we look at your base, it seems like you're getting 2 more gateways up. And since Warp Gate is done, these 2 gateways that are still gateways should really be turning into Warp Gates at the moment, and there it goes, on cue. But you really want to get that as soon as your Warp Gate finishes. And I'd like to see you chrono boosting some probes. Well done. That's very nice. Although you don't normally want to queue, I think the duration of Chrono Boost will get you out 2 probes within its time. So that's not too bad because it will get those out relatively quickly. And yeah, any reason for not warping in units at the moment with these 2 gates?
Well, I did. I just warped in 2 zealots down by my proxy pylon.
Sorry, I did not see that.
No problem. I definitely do have too many resources. You know, if you look at him, he's at 400. He's got a pretty sizable marine army, but I definitely, if I was a better skilled player, I could have been definitely even in army size by now. But yeah, so I start warping in some zealots, and now I warp in a contingent of stalkers here. There's pylon as well.
And it looks like he's setting up to expand. His command center is almost done, and he's got those Marines lined up with 2 bunkers right there by the natural. While you are currently chrono boosting the cooldown on your warp gates. I do like that. That's very good. And it looks like you may try to get 1 or 2 more round of warped units in there and push it for a backdoor attack.
Yeah.
As the factory goes down for Zanidor, so we could be seeing some tanks along with these Marines.
I do want to note that kind of strange supply depot placement here by Zanidor. He puts it behind the vegetation, so he can't really see those rocks and keep an eye on them if we look at just his vision. So, you know, maybe he wasn't familiar with this map very much, or I don't know. But just kind of strange. If you're going to put, you know, he puts one right next to it, but you should put them over here so he can keep an eye on those rocks and see, you know, when, if at all, I was going to push in there.
Yeah, no, you've got, I'd like to see you expanding right now if you could. You've got 500 minerals, 500 gas. Maybe, I mean, you're saturated at your main right now. I'd still like to see you pumping out some more probes. You've kind of cut probe production at the moment, and I mean, you've got the minerals to still support it while getting units. So I would say that that's kind of a small mistake you made. Then, if you were going to expand, you'd have these extra probes to transfer over.
Yeah, and if we look at, you know, the army tab right now, we'll see that we're pretty much just about even. My army actually is a little more resource heavy as he's mainly Marine, so actually, you know, we're pretty close right now, and although he just got his expansion down, so that's going to give him the advantage right now, whereas I do not have my expansion. I am, you know, throwing up some pylons around my base. I need to get my supply up. Oh, and I didn't even realize this. I have a probe right here by my gas, not harvesting, and I believe that is the 3rd probe that should be on that gas.
And it looks like you're pushing in right now. I like the smart focus fire on the tech lab of the factory.
Yeah, I don't want him to get a tank out real quick or anything like that. You know, and his units have to come all the way from those bunkers, so I leave the factory alone. I get out the bunker, and then kind of I leave my units alone for a little bit, and then I push in here and see
I like you're sending the zealots into the probe line there.
Yeah, you know, I didn't see his army, so I thought maybe he had been pushing out across. So I wanted to do some economic damage.
Now, a slight mistake. You can see these 2 stalkers in the back are actually focus firing the factory instead of the army in front of them.
Yeah, that's a really huge mistake. You know, we were probably pretty close in army size, and now you can see he's got a pretty significant advantage. And, you know, in the end, this factory is just going to get repaired or whatever, so that was pretty bad. So I had warped in 4 more stalkers on my pylon, but I decided to bring them back. And this is where you see the real ingenuity of this pylon. His forces are moving out, and they're going to walk right by it without ever seeing that it's there. And as you'll see later in this game, this pylon is going to play a pretty big role, as well as I do have the watchtower, so I can see that he's moving out. There's a burned out abandoned tank down here in the middle of this map, which I think is really cool. But he is pushing out into my front door.
No, it looks like his starport is going out, as well as you threw down a Templar Archive or a Twilight Council. So were you planning on teching